Hello and welcome to RV Review, where I talk about my opinions on video games. As this is the introductory episode of the show, I'll explain myself a little bit. This is a show where I talk about a certain game based on 6 factors. My background with it, the story, the presentation, the gameplay, the final level, and my final thoughts / whether or not I'd recommend it to someone. Now that I've had a chance to explain myself, let's go ahead. One of my favorite trends in video games recently are the games where the game is giving players something completely different than what they are used to, and being told to play the game like that. Games like Octodad, I Am Bread, or Surgeon Simulator, they would all be boring if controlled like normal games. But how they are controlled makes the game. And this is no different than Snake Pass, a game where you take control of a snake and hunt down collectibles where you have to think like a snake. Back when Snake Pass was first released, I bought it at launch on the Switch, and then played the first level and never looked back. The learning curve was steep, and at the time I was not up to the challenge. That was until Stardew Valley came out on Switch, and I had a long, hard conversation with myself, and decided I needed to beat everything else on my Switch before I let myself touch Stardew. Going back to Snake Pass, I found a surprisingly charming game wrapped in a $20 package that I had a surprisingly good time with. So, let's get into this. The story in Snake Pass is simple. Noodle and Doodle, the cute snake bird team this game focuses on, hear of a mysterious intruder in their homeland, the Harmony Foothills. They decide to venture to the top of Haven Tor, where they can stop this intruder from disrupting their paradise. The story isn't anything special by any means and is barely relevant in the game itself, but it provides a good reason for these two to go on an adventure, and that's good enough for me. The general look and feel of the game reminds me a lot of Banjo-Kazooie's Spiral Mountain, just applied to a whole game. The whole thing is very cartoony and vibrant, and Noodle is colored very uniquely compared to all of his surroundings, making it easy to navigate with him. There are 4 worlds, each very uniquely colored and themed. The music is there. It's not anything special, but it gets the job done. One thing I did not like about Snake Pass was its music's repetition. Each world has its own theme, and with some of these levels taking around 20 to 30 minutes to beat, that music just repeats and grinds into your head. One positive thing I will say about the music though is that it does fit quite nicely with all the worlds. There's some voice acting in the terms of Noodle's voice, but it feels really strange and out of place. Just listen to this and tell me it doesn't sound awkward. Noodle controls as you would expect a snake to control. It's difficult at times, and a lot of the time you can't help but feel frustrated when the snake doesn't move the way you want it to. But most of the time it actually feels quite good to control with. There are 4 worlds with a total of 15 levels. Each world has its own theme, and are similar to what you'd expect with Mario levels. There's the grass world, known as Boulder's Realm. There's the water world, known as Soggy's Realm. There's the fire world, Cinder's Realm. And the wind world, aptly named Blowy's Realm. Each world brings its own mechanic, which is what the world focuses on. These mechanics include moving boulders, going underwater, avoiding fire, and being carried above fans. Each level requires you to get these 3 relics to move on to the next world. However, if you only went for these, this game would be really fucking boring. Each world has an optional 5 coins and 20 blue orbs. These I really think should try to be obtained no matter what, because only going for the 3 relics, as previously stated, makes the game way too easy and substanceless. If you do only want to get the 3 relics, then when you beat a level you unlock its time trial counterpart, which isn't really my speed, but there's an audience for that. When you beat a world you get a special totem. That really doesn't add much to the game until... The final level of Snake Pass plays out like every other level of Snake Pass. However, when you beat it, you're given a nice cutscene. After a large bird being teased as a sort of final boss throughout the whole game, it's revealed to be this teeny guy who just wants to return to his homeworld. Noodle and Doodle use the totems given to them by each of the realm's owners in order to send our black bird friend back home, promising that they will always be near him to help if he ever needs them. 2 seconds later, he comes out asking for their help, and setting up for a sequel. This ending is fine for a game basically lacking a story, so I'll give him that. If you complete every level getting every collectible, you get these nifty 8-bit skins for Noodle and Doodle. They're a nice bonus, but they don't give me a compelling reason to replay the game. However, you can use these in time trial mode, if that's your thing. Now that's all nice and dandy, but would I recommend it? Yes, I would, but more specifically I'd recommend it to those who really like collectathons. If you feel like just running through and don't want to comb over every detail of the world Snake Pass has to offer, you are not going to have a good time. Snake Pass wants you to explore and has a steep learning curve filled with trial and error trying to figure out how your snake works. However, I had an incredible time with Snake Pass, and I'm sure you will too. So until then, I've been RVRocks, and thanks for watching. See ya!